Did you always know you wanted to be a Green Beret?
When I first joined the military, I really didn't know much at all about the military. I was just trying to get my family out of the projects and the trailer park. So, I mean, you know how it is whenever, you know, if you live in those types of neighborhoods, it's like generation after generation after generation.
Hey, if you keep doing the same thing.
Yeah, somebody's got to break the
Yeah, you got to break the cycle.
A lot of ways, it's a single mom.
Yeah, everything. Like she's doing everything on her own.
Right.
And you leave and you're gone. And some of those trips, I was gone for like 10 months, 12 months at a time.
Wow.
Are you doing Zoom calls? I mean, can you talk to the kids?
Well, originally, they didn't have any of that technology.
I mean, what's one thing that you think the civilian person like me would not understand, which is a lot of what you guys have had to go through to get where you're at? Like the everyday battle, or even the training? Is there just something that we just don't understand, like that level?
So I think the biggest thing that I see is not understanding what it's like to be on a team and really putting other people before yourself.
If we're on a team, everybody's got purpose. He's thinking about the guy before him.
Yeah, you're thinking about everybody else, right? You have empathy for other people.
Right.
You're kind of thinking about like, okay, listen.
We got 8 billion people on this earth, and we all have our own agendas. Everybody's got, it's 8 billion agendas. But when you're on a team,
is such a great observation.
It's
such a
the
great
team agenda.
Buckle up. This is What the Hell Do I Know with JB.
All right, Terry Wilson, it is great to have you here on What the Hell Do I Know with JB. So thanks so much for being here today.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I really appreciate it,
Welcome.
man. We got your name sent to me from Eddie Gallagher, who was on our show. Gosh, I mean, it was last season at this point.
It's definitely been a couple months.
You were there, Juice. You were gone that day when Eddie was here.
No, Eddie scares me, dude.
We had some scary dudes.
My cool story is I was babysitting my daughter, so unfortunately I couldn't make that one. But man, I wish I'd have seen it.
Checks out.
Yeah. Checks out.
But no, I'm so glad to have you here. I want to dive into some of your story because you were in the 7th Division, right, with the Green Berets in the Army. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was at 7 Special Forces Group. Yep.
Is that what it is? Because I don't know. Is it Green Berets?
Green Berets, yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's Special Forces, but there's confusion between Special Forces and Special Operations.
Is that right?
Right.
Okay.
So Special Operations is like the big umbrella. Special Forces is specifically Green Berets.
Specifically Green.
Yep.
So when you say Special Operations, what is that? I mean, so the audience out there, you say it's the big overall, but what does that encompass then?
So Special Operations could encompass like all of SOCOM. It can encompass PSYOPs,
MISO, So that's like the mind game sort of stuff, correct?
Yeah, but I mean, there's all types of different, like, to make up Special Operations, like, you need intel, like, you need boat guys, you need all these other different jobs and skill sets to do it.
Right.
So there still could be considered Special Operations, right? But then it'd be same thing as, like, NSW is Navy SEALs. Right. So Special Forces is Green Berets.
Special Forces is Green Berets.
Yes.
And when you went through, you became a Green Beret, did you always know you wanted to be a Green Beret? I mean, it seems like I've seen your story a little bit. I know you've on several podcasts.
So, man, when I first joined the military, I really didn't know much at all about the military. I was just trying to get my family out of the projects and the trailer park. So that's initially why I joined the military.
I really appreciate you watching this show, and it means the world to us that you'd watch this show. But one of the best things you can do, and it is super free to help support what we're doing here and putting out good content, because we think it's good to put good out in the world, is right now subscribe. Many of you watch this show, and I see it, and you don't even realize you haven't subscribed to it. So make sure you follow and like and subscribe. But really subscribe to this content. It means the world to us, and it really helps promote what we're doing, and is a great way to support this show. Free, super free. So thank you so much.
And I didn't really have no clue kind of what
was what. That's what I was going
to
say, because you were, I saw some other podcasts you were on, and you talk about how you had it wasn't easy growing up.
No, it wasn't easy.
What area were you in?
So I was born in St. Louis, but I was raised in and out of like in like the suburbs of like St. Charles, and then the rural areas also. We moved around quite a little bit. So
your parents together?
No, they had a shotgun wedding. They were married young, and they left probably, man, I was a toddler, kind of
So
whenever they
who were your role models? Like, where did you look to?
So I mean, I moved around a lot.
Right.
So like, I really didn't have much of a father figure.
Right.
My grandfather on my mother's side was probably the most predominant father figure at that time.
Right.
You know, but I was still living with my mother, so it was in and out with my mother at times, and then I moved with my grandmother for a while, and then I lived with my grandfather for a while, and my dad. So I was like all over the place.
Holy cow!
Yeah, so
like, what was the longest stability you had? Do you remember what?
If I stayed somewhere longer than a year and a half, 2 years, I was surprised.
Dang.
Yeah, so I was all over the place. Yeah.
All the way till you were 18.
All the way until, I would say until about 18. Well, actually, all the way until me and my wife bought our first house. I was like 18 years old. We was like 18, 20 years old.
Married?
We were like right at 19 years old.
You got married and got a house at 18.
Yeah, I think it was between 18 and 20 years old.
Holy moly.
Yeah, still married.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know there's a story in there. We'll keep.
Yeah,
We'll
there's a few
unpack
stories
it
in that
as
one,
much
yeah.
as you'll allow me.
Oh, yeah.
We'll unpack that because I know there's a story in that. But and so at 18, you marry. Did you?
Yep.
Or did you have children right away?
Yeah, we already had 2 children.
Two children at 8. So
yeah, well, we had 2 children. First one was at 18. So we was at 2 children when I was about 20 years old.
You had 2 by 20.
By 20, yeah.
Wow.
And when did you go in the military?
Like right after that, I got married. We got married, and then I went in the military.
You went in straight away at 18.
Yeah.
And that was you saw it as a way to get out of the bad.
Yeah, I saw it as a way to move my family out of that area to bring them somewhere else.
Wow,
so it was like generational. I mean, you know how it is whenever if you live in those types of neighborhoods, it's like generation after generation after generation.
Hey, if you keep doing the same thing,
Somebody's got to break the
you
cycle.
got to break the cycle. So like for me, we're like at that point, college wasn't in the cards for me.
Right.
So I was like, well, I'm gonna do military. So
did you feel that? Was there something special obviously there's something special in your wife? Do you think she pressed it? Do you think that helped to break it? Do you think you would have recognized it on your own?
You know what? I will say whenever I was younger, there were some influences in my life. Like my father had some positive influence on there. Like he put me to work like really young.
Okay.
Like I worked in the back of a trash truck probably when I was like 10 years old, 12 years old.
What?
Yeah.
Another trash.
Yeah, so
that's where we came from.
That's where Jason came from.
That was where I cut my teeth. My wife
really?
and I were
Yeah.
second generation garbage haulers in the Metro Atlanta area. I did it all through college.
Yeah, my grandfather and my uncle owned Wilson Refuge.
Okay.
He sold it to Waste Management some years back.
We were in Atlanta as CLM Sanitation. Curly Larry Moe sold it to Waste Industries.
Yeah, this was in St. Louis.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I didn't know you.
Yeah, so but whenever I was working, I was in Pueblo, Colorado.
Yeah.
He moved there and he started to trash. My grandfather started a trash company up there.
Yeah, there's a lot of money in trash.
Oh, there is.
One man's trash is another man's treasure.
Yep.
Trash brothers.
I always said it smells like money.
Oh, man.
I can tell you this here. He's serious. We were on a trip one time, and we were going into a restaurant, and we went through a back alley, and it was really hot that day. And there's a dumpster, and I'm telling you, you couldn't even hardly stand it. It smelled so bad. And Jason takes this big whiff. Smells like money. Oh my God. Yeah. Anyway, there we go. There were my tangent. We got to get back on track.
Yeah, that was kind of the running joke. But,
yeah. So I was, he had me on the back of the trash truck, like during summers.
Awesome. Yeah.
Like I sat on the back of the trash truck and hauled trash. I was like 10, 11, 12 years old.
Yeah, that was against workers' comp.
Totally. Right. So I did that for a few summers, and then somebody called Child Protective Services. Right.
No kidding.
Yeah. I mean, this was back in like the late 80s, early 90s, I guess at that point,
Yeah.
So
I worked construction with my dad at 9, and nobody called for me. I wanted somebody to call.
But you can't really hide being on the back of a trash truck at like 10, 11 years old, right? So we're riding there, and then it didn't change anything. Like I still had to go run the route. Now I just sat in the front of the truck. So every time we stopped to get out, I had to get out of the truck, go out and grab the dumpster or the 55-gallon drum and then put it in. So really, truly, just gave me more work. Whoever called, thanks a lot. I just had to work harder. Just had to work harder.
I'm not quitting. I just got to make it harder now.
Well, I tell you, when I did it in high school and college, they had these orange tote barrels, and so service was primarily backdoor service. Curb was just starting to become a thing where what we see now. 90% of America has these 95-gallon cans, 2 wheels on it. You wheel it to the curb. They come by, sometimes automated, sometimes semi-automated. But they come by and they dump the can, right? It's provided by the hauler. Well, back then, I mean, that just wasn't a thing. It was just starting to become a thing. So everybody put their own cans out there, and you would have a few that would pay the least amount to put it at the curbs. But most people, they paid a little extra so you come to the house. Now you have to be the most disabled person in America for them to come to your house. Nobody's going to your house anymore.
Yeah.
But I would tell you, half my route was to the house. So I have to run an orange tote barrel down. You'd put all the trash in. You would just clean it. You would clean it to your chest.
You were ripped.
Hump it to your. Oh, you'd build this hump in your neck where the barrel would sit on your shoulder.
Yeah.
And about 2 weeks in, it would get black and that'd get dead, and you wouldn't feel it anymore. And so you would just do that for 2 weeks. But it was the best workout I've ever had.
Yeah,
I promise.
I'm sure.
I promise you, bar none.
Yeah, back there in Pueblo, Colorado, they had 55-gallon drums.
Oh, so you were taking the metal stuff.
So we were taking the metal 55-gallon drums.
Higher elevation, dude.
Yeah,
Less
that's like
air.
an extra 30 pounds.
No wonder
Oh,
somebody
yeah.
called.
So back on the show.
Here we go.
No, 'cause I love hearing this back inside of it. What I mean, tough times. You're in. You said something about trailer park. Is it trailer park stuff?
Yeah. So like when I was a toddler,
rental stuff.
Yeah, so whenever I was a toddler, we lived in, like, obviously back and forth. The earliest I remember was like living in, oh man, it wasn't even a trailer park. It was like something you would see like in Eastern European with a bunch of pikeys. Like, like not like a trailer,
like a KOA campground.
Like a KOA campground with just a couple of people there, but it's not even at a KOA campground. It's just out, you know what I mean? Out somewhere or whatever, yeah.
Like
so
Dancing with the Wolves.
Yeah, so so that was the original I remember in, as a toddler. And then they separated. And then from there, we moved into a trailer park for a while, but then from there it was like apartment buildings.
Did you find like finding your way? Did you ever find yourself? Because I've talked to some people that have gone through that sort of thing, and that upbringing that is just destabilized.
Yeah.
And they constantly felt like they were also just angry at the world from time to time, and they're fighting, and they rebellious. And did you find that?
I didn't hit that until puberty. When I hit puberty, that's when I think I started. That's when I really started rebelling.
Yeah.
But when I was a younger kid, I really didn't. I mean, I got straight A's as a kid.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Whenever I was a young kid.
Amazing.
And then
that kind of destabilization in the house and have straight A's.
The one thing I will say that I can, as we're talking, is you really get used to a high level of stress. Because you're like always in some kind of chaotic situation.
So you get to operate in stress and perform.
Yeah, so like,
Which
that's
really
one thing.
comes into handy.
Really comes into handy when you're downrange. Yeah.
It's really
where it goes.
You were in
it really
training
comes in
early.
handy, So yeah.
Holy smoke. So you get through that. Did you play sports in high school?
So I enjoyed sports, and a lot of it was just backyard or street ball.
So nothing
or something
really
like that.
So nothing necessarily keeping you out of trouble like
well,
that.
no, I mean, because all that cost money. Like, we didn't have money. Like, so, like,
call.
you know what I mean? There wasn't like I could go.
How many high schools you go to?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. Like I say,
More
I'd be in
than
like 1 or 2. Yeah, probably. Yeah, more than 3.
Wow.
But then I dropped out at about, I guess I was about 16 years old.
Really?
Yeah, I dropped out of school.
So how do you go in? So like if you go into the military, I mean, now could you get a GED?
So there at that point you do the GED.
GED. So you went and got your GED.
Yeah, so I went and got my GED.
Did your ASVAB.
Yep, GED and ASVAB.
Go to the recruiter.
Well, actually, I went to the recruiter and like, hey, I want to.
And
he's like, hey, man, you ain't got a high school diploma. You got a GED.
Okay.
So he's like, hey, listen now. So he took me. He's like, hey, you need to go to the library. You need to get a couple books.
Honestly,
these are the books on there.
These recruiters can really be helpful at.
Oh yeah,
right?
I mean, well, that was back in the day. Like, you learned everything. You read it. You self-taught. Like, there was no YouTube. There was nothing to watch or anything. So like everything you did, you had to learn from a book, right? So, I mean, all they're saying is like, hey, here's this book. You need to go get this book. You know what I mean? I went and got the book and then read it and then studied myself and then went and took the.
How long did it take you to when you were like reading this stuff? Like how?
Not long.
Yeah. So
Not long.
I mean, because it's general GEDs. What is it? General
Education
diploma?
Yeah.
So you kind of have a lot of the base that you need, right?
Yeah. So I mean, that was the one thing. Like, as a kid, I was actually pretty.
You absorbed it real well.
Well, I got good grades when I applied myself. You know what I mean? When I didn't, and I was, like, I kind of got bored with it, and I started kind of rebellion. Then I just just didn't do the work.
Well, you obviously had the aptitude to it. I've talked to somebody else that was in the 7th.
Yeah.
And they were telling me that they had all kinds of problems as well. They're very problematic through high school.
Yeah.
But he scored well on the ASVAB.
Yeah, so I scored.
So he had this aptitude to learn.
Yeah.
That almost seems to be like what the number one thing you need to be when you're a special forces.
You need to be able to problem solve.
Yeah.
You need to know how to understand people, the human domain, leverage, and then you need to be able to problem solve.
All right, so let's jump in. You've gone to the recruiting because I want to get in a little bit of the story. I love to see what did you retire as?
Sergeant Major.
Sergeant Major.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's a working office, non-commissioned officer.
Yeah,
is that what they
non-commissioned
call it?
officer,
I
yep.
mean, but that's a working man, right?
Yeah.
Right?
You're actually. I gotta watch what I say.
That's real.
You're getting stuff done.
That's real
Yeah.
leadership. Well, I talked to enough people now in the military to know that's where the real leadership comes from.
There's talkers and doers.
Yeah. So but you start out as a private.
Yep.
In the Army.
E1.
And do you? I mean. Take us from that moment to get to, and I know that's probably several years. I mean, how do you get into the program to say I want to be in the 7th?
So back then, at that point, I didn't really know a whole lot about I didn't know anything about SF, Ranger, nothing else.
I know John Rambo.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, so I know the Terminator, and I know what I mean,
Right.
the Predator, right? I know Rambo, right? So
right. I saw something where it said you're never too old to do it, John, or whatever. When he was telling the colonel, whatever his name is, it would motivate him.
Man, I saw a cockroach the other day the size of a
Whoa.
cat.
What kind of roach?
They call them palmetto bugs down here in Florida, but they're full-on roaches with wings.
No, you
man.
usually have the other kind of roaches. But for the cockroaches, use True North Pest Control. They're serving the Panhandle of Florida, South Georgia, a lot of places in the Southeast, so give them a call.
Hey, welcome to Floors.com studio. That's FLOOR.
Double Z.
ZZ.
ZZ.com, baby. Give them a buzz. They are good for all your remodel and new build and flooring needs. Floors.com, they'll ship you anywhere. Tell them the Jabroni sent you.
So I started out there, went to basic training, and then, basic training is pretty much the same for everybody back at that time, and then went through basic training, AIT, went to my unit. And then I got to my unit 1 year before September 11th. Mm-hmm. September 11th hit, we deployed during September 11th hit, we deployed to Qatar. And then at that point, which was in the Middle East, but we really wasn't seeing any combat.
Right.
And then once I got back from that trip, I put in my packet to go to...
That's when you said 7. Oh.
Well, yeah, so I went to Qatar, and then I seen all, at that point, they had at the base all of the SOCOM, the NSW guys,
were there,
the CAD guys, the SEALs, the SF guys, all these dudes were coming in and out of the talk or whatever.
Okay.
So I'm that's what I want to do.
So did you have a chance to talk to these guys?
A little bit, but they were kind of in and out of the talk or whatever.
I want to do that. You just saw the action. You wanted.
Well, yeah, because
you're just seeing them going, and they had all the cool toys. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of this is for me personally. It's you join the military, at least for me, and I wanted to be with the best of the best.
Okay.
And we're at war, and I wanted to get after it. It's you don't go play football to not try to get to the Super Bowl.
No,
so
you know what I mean? So
very interesting to say that.
So that's where that's what I wanted to do. And right there, I wasn't able to do it where I was at. So
my brother's in the Marine Corps, and he was doing different. I think there was a salt rock climbing, just some stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, September 11th happened when he's going through some of these trainings that he had. And I remember he had the same attitude. He's like, I'm ready to get after it. Like everybody was. If you came from that genre, and I think I've heard Eddie say this. I don't know if he said it on my show or as another podcast, but the difference between the mindset of those that were in service around 9/11 or decided to come into service in 9/11 versus towards that arc. And I wanted to ask you this question. The arc towards the end of his career, the mindset was totally different. The new guys that were coming in were almost like, what are we still doing here?
So it depend.
Yeah.
So this is what I seen when I came in. The guys that were in before September 11th started fading away, a lot of those guys, because they joined the military before
peacetime.
combat during
Right,
peacetime.
Like I'm
Okay.
getting a GI Bill.
Yes, exactly. So now, like, combat's happened, and some of those older guys are like,
Yeah.
bro, I didn't sign up for this, right?
Right.
So,
right,
like, so that's what I seen. There was a lot of guys there. That doesn't mean that was everybody. A lot of those
Sure.
guys in there wanted to get after it. Hey, okay, now it's the time to get after it, you know. And then I seen a lot of guys later on when I was like a company sergeant major. The war's like kind of coming to the end, and they're wanting to get after it, and there's like nothing there. And you know, it's kind of one of those things. You're like, hey, be careful what you wish for, you know.
Right.
But so yeah, I mean, at that point, when September 11th happened, everybody that wanted to go in the military wanted to serve their country,
right.
and wanted to serve their country under whatever capabilities
Didn't
they
matter.
needed. Didn't matter, right?
And somebody needed to pay.
Yeah, exactly. So now, as the war kind of progressed in that, then I think people obviously have different mentalities. Oh, can I join and not have to actually go? Or maybe I'm going to join the MOS that's not actually deploying and doing anything. You know what I mean? So,
Juice, you were reading up on Terry a little bit, and we all went down the rabbit hole. We tried to with our guests just to understand. Did I hear the number 11?
11 out of 24 years deployed.
yeah, 11 out of 24
11
years.
That's
out
crazy.
of 24 years
Yeah.
deployed.
That's insane.
All with the 7th Division?
So some of it was when I originally went in was in the regular Army, and then the rest of it was with 7th Group.
Wow. So can you walk us through some of the training that it takes to get in the 7th Group? Because I did talk to my buddy Jake, who was in the 7th. He remembers you.
Okay.
And says, I think in 2014 y'all might have been on the same base. He said that's when he would have crossed paths with you.
Okay.
But he said it was very brief.
Gotcha.
But he remembers you, and of course, and I want to thank you for your service. He,
Absolutely.
He of course
Yeah.
said tell you hello, but he said it was always brief. But he was in the 7th when y'all were, I guess, stationed in the same spot. Around 14, it sounded like. I think that's when he said it was.
Okay.
I don't know where that was, but
Yeah.
But when I talked to him, though, I remember he told me like there was something like he had to learn Spanish.
Yep.
Because I guess that's where he was going to be. The 7th here is kind of
It's
that.
Spanish, yep.
Yeah, and he said I guess he had an aptitude for it. He had like so many months to learn Spanish, and he was telling like the training was so intense. He's like, I was sent to a place, and my only job was to learn Spanish.
Yep.
And he told me how at the end he had to pick up this phone and couldn't see anybody, no lip reading or anything like that, and had to have just like this full on conversation.
Yep.
Now, is that? I assume that's.
Yeah, it's for everybody.
Yeah, if you're in the 7th, all these little training, there is no, here's my interpreter.
No.
You guys are serious.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Can you walk us through some of those kind of training deals?
Yeah, so for the language, every group, 7th group, 3rd group, 5th group, 10th group, they have a different area of the world.
Right.
And so they have different languages they have to learn.
So there's somebody out there has Mandarin.
Yeah.
Yep, somebody
There's
has
a team
Mandarin.
that's
Chinese.
Mandarin.
Yep,
There's
the
a
team
team
that's got
that has
Mandarin.
Russian.
Yeah, you
got
definitely want
Russian.
Spanish.
Yeah,
I'll
there's a
take
team that has,
Spanish.
Now, a lot of those. Now, we are the only group. When you go to a Spanish-speaking country, we don't have interpreters.
so
But some of the other groups, you have to. You can't have
Right.
Mandarin Chinese and go over
well,
there.
and it's-
That's
and
tough.
the different
And, like, not have
the different dialects and whatnot.
Yeah, well, I mean, you get the same thing in Spanish. If you go
Okay.
to Central and South America,
Okay.
like how fast they talk, the different dialects, you still have the same problem, and you're just like,
I can tell you, my buddy, I went on vacation with him,
Yeah.
and we were in like the Caribbean, and he's out of service, but all I know is his passport looked different than mine. And he said I've already contacted some of my assets that were down here and let them know I was coming. And I was like,
just in case.
I was like, I'm on vacation, bro. He's like, well, you never know.
Yeah.
I had never even seen
Should
the
I be
world
on
that
vacation
way.
with you?
I was like,
Yeah.
Should we still be here? It's like, I'm looking for
We're at a
Mai
resort.
Tais on the beach.
You're right.
Yeah.
Where's my Mai Tai? Yeah.
But so yeah, because you guys you were down there, but there were, I guess, when 9/11 and in certain times after 9/11 and in this conflict in Iraq and the conflict in Afghanistan and these 11 years you were there, I mean, I think I watched one interview where you didn't even know who your targets were. There were times. You had to know the distance. I think there was something that you were saying you would track out like what ammunition they were firing at you or what they were using, and you would kind of back up and be like, "This is where I need to set my position."
Yes, yeah. So that's one thing. Like combat, like war is not like the movies. You know, a lot of times you're getting engaged. When I say engaged, somebody's shooting at you, and they're trying to hide just as much as they can.
Yeah.
Right. So they're in a fighting position, which could be in a window. Right. It could be you know, where they're covering up behind a bush somewhere,
right,
or you know, in a mud hut or somewhere, right, or on top of a rooftop where they have some cover and concealment, so you can't see them, right, and then they're engaging with you. So what you have to know is like, so if I pull up somewhere and I'm in a vehicle, or if I'm dismounted, I need to look at my surrounding and I see, okay, there's a compound here, there's a compound here, there's something here. Okay, the closest thing is 600 meters from me.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So then now I go, okay, what can be engaged? If somebody's at that location, what can they shoot at me with? They can shoot at me with the PKM, an RPG,
right,
an AK-47, whatever. And now I go, okay, I need to back up 300 meters, 400 meters from there. So now I'm backing up. So now whenever they engage, they're not going to be as accurate. The RPG is going to blow up over my head and not hit me.
And is your
or they're going to blow up before it hits me? Because
you're using, you can engage with them from that distance.
Well, yeah, exactly. So I'm using like a 50 cal machine gun, so I'm able to engage them, and then theirs are going to fall short.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Okay.
Depending on what it is, or it's going to be not as effective.
God,
right. So like that's where like the tactics and everything kind of pulls.
Right. Absolutely.
Comes into play,
and then obviously having the tools to be able to do that.
Yeah.
When you're deployed out, how many people typically are in a unit? You know, I know the SEALs seem to be pretty tight.
They have, they're set up a little bit different. They're set up in platoons.
Platoons.
Yeah, so we're set up in teams.
Okay.
So we have 12 guys on a team.
12 on a team.
On an ODA.
Okay.
Which is considered Operation Detachment Alpha.
Gotcha. And was that how you would head out into some of the missions that you were in Iraq or Afghanistan?
Yeah, so you'd have 12 guys on a team. So you have 12 guys. Now,
always the same guys? Not to interrupt. Always the same?
So it's always the same guys on your team. Now, at the end of the day, like, it doesn't mean you're going to be in the same guys, and guys leave to go to a schoolhouse or go somewhere else. But for the majority of the time, it's the same guys. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And
so you learn to trust each other, just like
exactly. Yeah.
Well, you got to.
That
right?
matters.
They got your back. Yeah.
And then like you may have some attachments. Like there's times where we had like CCTs, the combat controllers, your Air Force guys. They'll drop bombs for us.
Yeah. We had Jonathan Howard on.
Yeah.
And I know he said I can't remember, he might have been attached to.
Well, he's talking about that movie that came out where the guy was the Air Force guy was calling in the strikes for the SEALs,
to like special forces,
berets or
and
something.
He was kind of like.
Yeah, those CCTs are attached to like the SF guys, the NSW, the CAGs,
all those guys. During all
yeah.
that conflict.
Yeah,
I guess dropping whatever. You get coordinates and.
So then you have those guys attached. You'll have like the EOD guys. They'll be attached to us at times. So.
Oh yeah.
So you have some attachments on there, and then you have your partner force.
Okay.
Your partner forces, if you're in Afghanistan, like you may have.
Some
the Katehas, the Afghanis,
or
like the commandos, and they're just different units of what they're called.
How hard is that working with some of that? Because you got to have an interpreter there. You might have learned Spanish, but you didn't learn.
No, you didn't learn Pashto
or whatever.
Right. So you have to have an interpreter there.
Yeah, I mean, is that
at that point
difficult to like get through some of that, and then the training's got to be like these are guys that are like had a pitchfork one day, and like grabbing an AK the next day.
So now you got to realize we were there for the whole time. So like I was there when the war originally started off. So I remember seeing those guys when they first started.
Yeah.
And these guys are just coming out of the fields.
Yeah.
And like, hey, you want to be A&A? And the guy's like. Yeah, sure. And you're giving him a uniform and a gun and teaching him doesn't know nothing. Right. Then now you get, 20 years later, and I go to a later deployment, and these guys are flying helicopters. I'm like, what's going on here, right? So they went. So like at the end of the day,
they knew they needed to do something.
Well, yeah,
There's
exactly.
a war going on,
but
it's
like
coming for them.
At the beginning, there's like nothing. There's no tactical or no knowledge at all.
Did we provide them with weapons? Or are they picking up like the dirt?
No, we provided.
We
provided all that stuff for those guys. Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like we need to.
We left a bunch over there. I know that.
Oh yeah, that
we left a fair amount over there.
That was a shit show.
Yeah, it sounds like
somebody became an arms dealer over there.
Yeah.
So when because that war went on forever. At some point, you get pulled out, right, of Iraq. But when you're doing, or Afghanistan or both, but when you're doing all these tours, 11 out of 24 years, is that what it was? 11 out of 24 years?
Yeah, I was gone. I was either TDY deployed, so I was either deployed,
Okay.
In a combat zone, in training,
Okay.
preparing, or like TDY, or like a Geo Bachelor.
What does that mean, TDY?
So like a TDY is, you may go TDY to, it's like a temporary duty station, right? Where you're just going for maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 months.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, and TDY could be, I'm going for a training event. I'm going to sniper school.
Okay.
Before I go to there. I'm going to PMT training before I go there.
Short-term sort of training or help.
Yep, exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And so but 11 years, and how many children did
Four.
you? If you end up four children, when you came back, I mean, did your wife like, don't disturb everything that I've like created?
Oh man,
I mean, did you feel like you were like
tough.
popping in and pop? I mean, how did you handle that in a family role?
So that is very difficult because, man, you come back for deployment and then you leave and you're like, okay, I'm gone. I'm gonna go play G.I. Joe for a while, right? And then when I come back now, okay, I'm back now. Now I'm taking over. So it's very tough because you're asking your wife to be the disciplinary area, the protector.
I mean, a lot of ways,
the
a single mom.
Yeah, everything. Like, she's doing everything on her own.
Right.
Then you leave and you're gone. And some of those trips, I was gone for like 10 months, 12 months at a time.
Wow.
And
Are
then
you
come
doing
back.
Zoom calls? I mean, can you talk to the kids?
Well, originally they didn't have any of that technology.
Yeah,
Like you didn't have none of that shit.
I forget that's fairly new.
Yeah.
So, we use
So,
it so much.
So, but then later on, obviously, whenever that technology came, you know, they had it. I remember originally they had it to where like you went into like a room.
Yep.
And they had that technology, but it wasn't like Zoom. It was just.
It's like a long wait to
So
get
she
in there or
had
something?
So she had to go to the base and to go to one place where they had set up, and they had it somewhere else. They had it set up.
Wow,
you know what I
okay.
mean?
So she had to go to a base.
Yeah, she had to go to a
You
base.
had to go to,
I
like,
had to go to.
So it's not like
room there.
FaceTiming at home.
No, it's not like
nothing
FaceTiming at home. Yeah. And then everything is streamed. So like somebody's watching, like so you don't have any privacy. So you're talking. It's like, so it was like,
honey,
it was
we
like
need
way old
code for
school.
these words.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
I can only imagine.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
These kids don't know how good they got it these days.
Oh no.
Right? You're just on your phone.
But now it feels like you got to be careful because you could have an iPhone out in Iraq and FaceTime back home, but it feels like it's not encrypted. Like
No,
then
I mean-
somebody knows where your location is. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the
probably
technology's there.
times to
So
get
now well, it depends on who your peer is, who we're fighting against.
Okay.
Right? So at that
Yeah.
point, the technology really wasn't. The technology was there, but the Afghans really didn't have it.
Yeah, they couldn't.
But like now, if you were fighting like Ukraine and Russia right now,
Right.
like they're able to be tracked,
Yep.
right? Because it's two peer to peer
Right. Right.
nations
forces.
fighting, right?
So if you
like
were to
if you
jump-
have your
yeah.
phone and you're screen,
Coordinates.
yeah, exactly, coordinates and dropping on it, right? So like everything that you have submits a signal.
Wow.
So all that stuff submits a signal.
So
If
they
it
gotta
submits
go
a
dark. You
signal,
got to go dark.
yeah, I mean if you're
And we're into drones now. I mean, they're just dropping
drones, yeah. So
dropping
like
little missiles
everything
on
that has
anybody.
anything that submits a signal, like you can be.
Isn't it weird? We got to get away from technology because technology is so good. It's going to get
Technology's got so advanced, you have to go way back to the basics.
caveman. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. To where you can't even use a commo system or radio or none of that
Well, I
stuff.
remember, you've seen all these movies, and there's some Iraq movies. You can go back into Vietnam where it's like you've got the comms guy, and he comes running in with his backpack, and you're like
Yeah.
ringing in something in the back,
yeah.
and like, hey, we're sending the birds or whatever. You know, I mean, it sounds like you were in some of that, but now is it just an iPhone? You text somebody?
So it went to that, and then it went to like a satellite phone.
A sat phone.
Yeah, so you have a
Okay.
sat phone. So guys, we have a sat phone
Does it
on
look
there.
like that one from like Saved by the Bell kind of sat phone?
Kind of, sort of. Yeah, kind of, sort of. I mean, it was like the same thing. It was big, blocky, and then you just pulled the antenna out. So it
Still
was
better than
pretty
a
big, yeah.
backpack, though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Backpack for sure.
And you're like a target with that thing, right? You're running around.
Yeah, when I first came in, that's what they had. So you had your commo radio, and it was all connected to DR8 wire.
Right.
So you had to connect it to the wire. So if you want to get comms, that wire had to be connected to the base camp somewhere, or then it had to submit to a radio, which is a OE254, which was just a big antenna to do a repeater to somewhere else.
Right, that you would have to put somewhere on a hill.
Satellite,
yeah, satellite
like
repeater.
You had to climb a hill, like I guess Lone Survivor. They were
some of them they were doing that.
I've seen the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know how accurate it is.
Yeah.
There's arguments.
You got to get to the top.
Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood.
Well, there's arguments.
I mean, that's our job is to
sensationalize it, right?
I mean, people get up. I mean, Hollywood. If you do a movie on war, Hollywood's going to make it a Hollywood movie because they have to sell tickets.
What about that
on
movie,
anything?
Warfare?
Warfare was probably one of the closest movies that I've seen. That was, I mean, here within the last, that was about GWAT. That was closest to real war. I don't know if you've seen it or not. It was. It was good.
It was intense.
It was intense, right? And then, as you can see there, those guys didn't know where the enemy was coming from.
Right.
They had no clue, right? And then at that point there too, which was really impressed me, is there's a lot of lessons learned. Like, it wasn't one of those war movies where like they were made a lot of dumb decisions, tactically incorrect decisions, right? But nobody wants to talk about those decisions that we make in combat. They are not good.
But you almost have to talk about it. So
you have to talk about it so you don't repeat it. You learn from it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like you only get to where you're at because you've made a lot of bad decisions. You know what I mean?
100%.
So like, so it was good that they did that. I was impressed by it. So
when you get out of the kind of that world, your seventh has Seventh always been, because you guys are kind of here in the Miramar Beach.
No, we used to be at Fort Bragg.
Fort Bragg,
yeah, I was going to ask you about
Carolina,
that.
is that
Yeah,
right?
North Carolina.
And
Yep.
is that where you were? So for a long time, were you in North Carolina?
Yeah, we originally was in North
When
Carolina.
did it move this way?
2013
or something?
I think is when they did the.
You had to love that it moved here, though, right? That was one of my questions. What was that like? You're like, oh god, this is way better.
So actually at that point, I almost stayed there and went to third group because I was instructor at the 18 Bravo's weapons committee.
Gotcha.
They're for like the students that come through to want to be Green Berets and have to do weapons training. My wife was a RN and worked at labor and delivery there at Womack at the hospital there, and she was a GS. I don't know, something. It was making pretty good money, and we were going to end up staying there, and luckily they didn't get our orders, and we came here to Florida, and oh man, we're so grateful.
Aren't you grateful?
Yeah, I know. So
I mean, that's amazing down here.
It is pretty fun down
I'm
here.
glad they moved here.
I'm not from here either.
But are they moving now? Did they move away, or they're still here?
No, they're here.
Something just left there, right? Didn't something just pull out of Eglin? Another group?
Not seventh group.
Okay, yeah, somebody did, but I thought it was seven.
Well, my buddy, this is, and I've talked to several people that have been in the military, and sometimes so I don't know. You could correct me if I'm wrong here, but some of these guys could be just telling me stories, I guess. But I understand if you're serving and you're overseas or you're out of the country, you don't pay taxes on the check that comes through. Or
no, if you're overseas like that, if you're like deployed, like there's tax-free stations duty. Like if you're in Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, you're not paying taxes.
Or if you're in Mexico or Brazil or
it depends. Only certain countries are taxed. Yeah.
Okay. So why?
I mean, it's kind of one of those. You're going.
Yeah, why is it taxed at all?
Why they got to do that stuff, man? You ain't there.
So, I don't know what. I mean, so you get taxed if you're back here, right?
They shouldn't even be taxing though at all.
You're taxed, right? If I go to Afghanistan, then I don't get taxed.
But you don't have a problem. Like, so here's the question I have, right? Because this is.
What are you getting at?
If I'm Microsoft, right, and I make $1 million in China and I want to bring it back into the U.S., I'm going to have to pay taxes on it. Mm-hmm. Right, but if you make it in Afghanistan, you don't have to. Like, it's not like you have a problem getting it into your bank here in America, right? It's a direct deposit.
It's direct deposit.
And they just don't tax it.
You just don't tax it.
I'm glad they don't.
Yeah,
I'm glad they don't. And some of my friends that have done that, especially when they were single, they took that money and saved it, and they buy a house or they buy a condo.
You do whatever.
I have friends of mine that have like 4 or 5 rentals. From time and service.
At the end of the year, it doesn't show that you made that money.
That's right.
So if you made $120,000, you show you have zero.
Yep.
Right.
So now you're actually getting money back because you didn't pay. You have a family of 6.
Right.
Right. And it shows that you made zero money.
It's crazy amount of discipline to do that because, you get in that deployment, you come back, you could easily go, I'm going to party it up. Or you could say, I'm going to be really disciplined and I'm going to invest.
And then you have a family that's being raised at home too, right? So that's why now your spouse is at there.
Family, there ain't nothing you can do, bro.
Yeah. So your spouse is there, she's still got to live, paying bills and everything else.
The single guys.
Oh, yeah, the single guys,
I'm going to party less. And it's not all of them. Plenty of them, as you know, party.
Yeah.
But there are a few of them that'll say, I'm going to not party and I'm going to invest this.
I'm going to retire at 55.
They really do well.
Yeah.
Those guys can do well if they can do that.
Yeah, there's another trick, too, that, so when you lease a vehicle, there's a couple dudes that were, going, leasing, supercars, right? And then as soon as you deploy, they have to take that back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so I can be rolling around. I can roll around like a G for a month or two, put 50,000 miles on this vehicle.
Done.
Turn it back in.
To take it back.
And they have to take it in.
Because you're going on unemployment.
Because you're on unemployment.
Would you know that was happening in 2 months?
Oh, they all.
You may or may not.
I got you.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying, at the end of the day.
Maybe.
Nice car. Some of the guys got hey,
so
man.
You could get a Lamborghini for a week.
You get your orders, I'm getting a Lambo for a bit.
Sorry.
I ain't seen too many doing any of that crazy, but it's got some pretty cool cars.
Yeah.
Some guys are car guys.
Did you ever, I go to my war movies like Zero Dark 30 and I see some of these guys, and there was one where they were trying to find the number to some guy in Kuwait or whatever, and they go into Saudi Prince and they open up the Ferrari store and they buy this guy, a $500,000-$600,000 Countach or whatever.
Yeah.
Did you see some of that sort of thing going around? Did you ever have those moments where it's like, I've got to do I got to fly in some baby giraffes for some,
crazy like that. So whenever we originally went into country, obviously you're there as a team, so you got they gave you funds.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you'd have a backpack full of money.
Right.
Right? That you'd have, and you'd have to conduct operations, which could be paying your partner force, whatever that money was authorized for, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had that kind of stuff.
So you did have to sometimes you have to knock in a door and sometimes you have to.
Yeah. But
door.
nothing, we weren't doing anything crazy, like stuff like that, or whatever. It didn't have anything like that. Everything that we had to spend on was for stuff that you needed for.
I just wonder if you had to buy
combat operations or something like that.
So get some tip and you had to pay some guy in a Mercedes G-Wagon or something.
Oh no.
He's getting at what would your movie pitch be from your career?
Oh yeah.
What movie are we gonna make?
Yeah.
What's the story? So you're back here, but then when you got back here, were you focused on this? I guess South America, right? Was that 7th
Group South America? But I spent all my time in pretty much Afghanistan.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit in Iraq.
Okay.
But mostly
So that
Afghanistan.
Spanish didn't really come in helpful over there.
Do you still have it?
Un
It's 'cause
poco.
you don't use it, right?
Yeah.
You don't use it.
Yeah, if you don't use it. Yeah.
You lose it.
Yeah.
You really do.
That's interesting. Really interesting. Gosh, I guess we can switch gears here in a second. This will almost be time for us to take a break, but I know we normally will play a game on the front end of the show, and I want to play a game. It's called What the Hell Do I Know? And we'll play What the Hell Do I Know with Terry Wilson.
All right,
and
sounds
so
good.
we're going to be 7 questions, no gotcha questions. It's rapid succession. We're going to put a clock on. I really have nobody.
He never tells us what they are either, so we get to find out.
But
when
really,
you do.
you can pass if you need to pass, okay? 7 questions, something a little different. They let the audience get to know you. Normally, I do it a little sooner.
Yeah, don't ask any questions that'll get you killed, dude.
Yeah.
What's up?
I said, don't ask any questions that'll get you killed.
Yeah, don't ask all the questions. Yeah, right.
I'm talking to you.
I'd plead the fifth.
Yeah, that's right. All right, here's the clock. Clock's on.
All right.
Number 1, coffee or energy drink?
Coffee.
Early riser or stay up late guy?
Early riser.
Favorite cheat meal, burgers, tacos, or pizza?
Pizza.
Beach day or mountains?
Mountains.
Dog person or cat person?
Dog.
Go-to hype song for something big?
Ooh, rose tattoo.
All right.
Murphy, maybe.
If you weren't doing what you do now, what job would be fun to try for one day?
Maybe on an oil rig. That seems like a pretty.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Crazy.
All right.
That's a crazy
Well,
job.
You're off the hot seat.
Wow.
Good job, my man.
His answers were on point. He's ready.
Yeah,
That's
he was
good.
super ready, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were just fun. Sometimes it just shake things up a little bit and let the audience know differently. I mean, what's one thing that you think the civilian person like me would not understand, which is a lot of what you guys have had to go through to get where you're at, like the everyday battle or even the training? Is there just something that we just don't understand, like that level?
So I think the biggest thing that I see is not understanding what it's like to be on a team and really putting other people before yourself.
There's
In the
something
civilian
special about
world, that's not very normal.
that. It's not.
Bingo. That
Right.
is really big.
So because it's so competitive and, it's not.
Like this dog eat dog world.
Yeah,
you
it's a
should
dog
look
eat
out
dog
for
world.
your
Yeah,
neighbor.
exactly. It's screw everybody else. It's
Yeah.
me. Right. It's not helping your fellow man. It's like you're on an airplane and you don't pay attention to anybody else. You're taking your sweet time. It's kind of like one of those things where, like, those things that you see, like veterans
hear
see
you.
on a day-to-day basis, kind of can get very frustrating.
Yeah.
I can see that. I never thought about that,
Yeah.
but the plane analogy is really good.
No, it's
like,
a great one.
If
It's
we're
a
on a
great
team, everybody's got purpose. He's thinking about the guy before him or
Yeah, you're
behind
thinking
him.
about everybody else, right? You
And
have
I'm
empathy
thinking
for
about-
other people.
Right.
You're kind of thinking about, like, okay, hey, listen.
We got
I
8
wanna-
billion people on this earth, and we all have our own agendas. Everybody's got it's 8 billion agendas. I
Yes, yeah.
But when you're on a
That
team,
is such a great observation.
It's
such a
the
great
team
observation.
agenda.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I've always said self-awareness is going to be my first chapter in the book that I write. Whenever
We
I
all
write
need to
one,
learn
right?
it.
So I
It's
think
like
that's a superpower.
Self-awareness
Yeah.
is like so important.
Yeah.
You are not on this planet
Oh, yeah.
all by
By
yourself.
yourself.
Yeah.
And it's not all about you.
It's not all about you. Did you ever have somebody come into your team that just didn't
Yeah,
get
you
it?
do-
I mean, I assume that you guys have to. I mean, I know you didn't go around doing the whole not Full Metal Jacket, but what was the guy with Tom Cruise when they had to get that one kid in gear, that Marine down at Guantanamo Bay or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Few
Yeah.
good men.
Few good men.
good men, yeah,
you
yeah,
want me on
yeah.
that wall.
Yeah.
You need me on that
need
wall.
me on that
Yeah.
wall. But you have to snatch some guys.
So there is even like on the teams there, like you'll have guys, like, don't get me wrong, guys go to selection process to where they get peered. So, but it's the selection process is only so long. So people can fake it till they make it to a certain degree, right?
yeah.
Because they know they're being tested, right? When they get to a team, your true character kind of will start showing forward.
Yeah.
And you'll see guys that are a little bit immature and they're not really a team player and they don't really understand it.
Yeah.
Right. But that's like your job as the senior leaders there, like whoever the teams are,
Just to bring
be
them
like,
up.
well, bring them up and let them be aware of it. Because there's some people that just don't have the same amount of self-awareness.
There
Like
is
I'll
something
one
about
guy
it, yeah.
I had on my team, like we'd do our counseling. That's where like we'd sit down once a quarter or whatever, or once a month we'd do monthly counseling and quarterly counseling.
Right.
And I'd sit down, he'd be on the other side, and I'm like, hey, listen, this is what you did good this month, this is where you need to work on, this is where you need improvements. You know what I mean? And we'd go through all this stuff. And some guys, I'd be like, hey man, you're the last guy to get here, you're the first guy to leave. Like, everybody doesn't feel like you're a team player, and they look at you, and this guy looked at me like, I don't know what you're talking about. He just didn't see it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, man, go back, and I want you to talk to everybody that's on the team.
Right.
And if they think differently, you come back tomorrow and let me know. So we went back in the room, and I said, hey, listen, guys, I told everybody some pretty hard truths, I said, so whenever guys call you and start asking you some questions, you need to be honest with them.
Right.
Right? So he comes back tomorrow the next day, and this guy's already been in SF for like, 5-6 years,
Wow.
And he comes back to me the next day. He's like, man, I didn't know. He's like, nobody thinks I'm a team player. He's like, and he was probably the most technically and tactically sound guy that I had there on the team.
Did that change?
Yeah,
Did
he
it
totally
change for him?
changed like that. He changed.
So he just
wasn't aware of
He
it.
just wasn't aware of it. He just
needed to see
needed.
the man in the mirror.
He just needed to see what he just couldn't see. He
We
had
all need that.
He had
We all
blind
need
spots
that.
on, and that he just couldn't.
He probably
I need
he
a
was
lot of
probably
that.
like that because he was so good, right? So tactically
He was
sound.
technically
so he's like,
I mean, he was a stud.
Yeah, I don't
You
need
know
to
what I
be
mean?
here, right? That's
exactly.
what's-
Yeah, he just didn't
that makes
understand
sense,
it.
yeah.
So
Do you think so? Like overconfidence then?
he was just over capable.
Over capable.
I don't know if he's overconfident. Maybe
Yeah.
he
No,
came off that. Yeah,
confidence.
overconfident. Yeah, he's probably confident in his
Yeah.
capabilities.
Which can
but
be almost verge on cockiness too. to a degree.
Yes, you can be. If you have the capabilities there, there's nothing wrong with that. To have confidence in your capabilities, you should have confidence in your capabilities.
Yeah, hopefully,
right? But still being a team player, there's still other people that's on this team, right? And then somebody else, just because I'm confident in my capabilities, once I'm done doing my work, if you're still doing work, I can stop what if I'm done, I can go over there and I can help you
exactly.
right before. So
And
we're
he was
all going
leaving.
back at the same time, not just leaving you stranded. You know what I mean? So, so that's kind of a little bit that comes into play there.
So what did you, when you're spending all that time in Afghanistan, one of the questions I want to ask you is like, how does it rubbing up with other special forces? Because I feel like, is there any like, we're better and our selection's this, and I mean, you know, I think I was
Green
watching,
Berets versus Rangers.
I was watching one, and it was actually, I felt it was pretty truthful. Now I don't know if he was talking about like Green Berets or if it was another special forces group, but I remember he was asked a question, what was the difference between that and like the Dev group, Team 6 or whatever, and he said, well, we just swim more. That was his question. So some of it, I think, is an honest assessment. Some of it feels like, well, our training's harder, or we do this.
So,
do you get any of that
So
stuff?
obviously there's going to be bias.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing about it is you're going to have bias towards what you went through. But truthfully, it's just a mission. I look at things as a mission set.
Okay.
What do you enjoy doing?
Okay.
Right? If you enjoy doing that mission set, then that's the job that you should go do.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and whether one thing's harder than the other, that's all. If you're a good swimmer, maybe going to Navy SEAL is not going to be as hard as route for you. If you don't swim that well, probably going to be a lot harder for you than going to be a Green Beret. If you can't land nav in the woods and you can't carry a heavy ruck, right? But you can swim well, right? Well, then going to be a Green Beret is not for you, and you should go be a Navy SEAL. Right? So
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? If you can, so there's certain things that like each individual have some different gifts.
Like, where am I at?
Where am I at? First I would say, what do you want to do? What mission set would you like to do? And then figure out a way how to
achieve that.
How to
like
achieve
go
that
into that
set.
department or what?
Exactly.
Is it unheard of for somebody to be in, let's say, the Navy and says, can you even do that? Can you? I mean, we've got NIL now, and these kids can leave the University of Georgia and they can go to like another team and play the very next season. I remember you used to have to sit out and all this stuff. Like, can you jump ship and say, well, I'm going to go over to the Army and be?
You can.
You can.
Yeah.
So that's.
So depending on what your MOS is and how much time you have in service, there's nothing. Now there's certain times to where
you got to get approval. I assume
you have to get approval, but you could get out. So if I have a 5-year contract, right, and I'm in the Army and then I want to go in the Navy afterwards, I could say, hey, listen, I want to transfer over. If they won't do it, I'll be okay, fine. Then you'll just take me out of the Army, and then I'll be out of the Army, and then I'll just go over and sign in the Navy right after.
Right.
There's nothing you can keep me from doing that.
Yeah, nothing to stop you. And I'm sure when you go in with all this is where I've been, they say, oh yeah, no,
now
this fits us really well.
If you want to go to CAG, you can go to CAG from any.
Now what's CAG?
CAG is like SEAL teams. So it's a tier 1 unit.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
And they draw from all different branches.
I got you.
Right.
I got you.
And then, so like SEAL Team 6, they only draw from
the SEAL
communities, right?
Right.
So CAG draws from everyone. You can be in the Navy, you can be in the Marines, you can be in the Coast Guard, you can be in the Army.
So is this like really uber exclusive, I guess?
Yeah. So that comes down to a numbers game.
Yeah.
Right. So at the end of the day, you ask me my personal opinion. When it comes down to a numbers game, like who is better, SEAL Team 6 or Dev or CAG?
Yeah.
I'm going to say CAG.
Really?
Why?
Yeah.
The reason why is because they can pull from everybody.
They're pulling the best. They're pulling the best.
So they can be a lot more restrictive on who can come in there. Mm-hmm. To me, it comes down to a math equation.
Yeah.
Whenever I look at that way, right?
Yeah.
And then for there, you only have as many personnel to pull from.
Well, yeah. So in all these selection schools, they all start with a high class number. And it's used to weed out the people that can't do hard stuff.
Yeah.
In crisis situations, and who does not.
And they're all, and every selection is looking for a different type of person. Right. They're looking for different technical, tactical skill sets.
Yep.
And a different, I wouldn't say necessarily character traits, but different personalities that are going to fit to what they need to accomplish the mission they're trying to accomplish.
What would you say in this? I want to kind of have this last question before we go to our quick commercial break. But because I think this will translate into even the civilian life, which I want to start shifting away. I know that it's fascinating, this whole world.
Man, I can talk to you all day about this.
Of how to do that. And I think young men need to see it. I think the discipline that's provided in the military, and if you're unsure of where to go, can be incredibly well for young men. We have a young audience, and so I think I really appreciate you opening up about some of your journey through that and figuring it out and the selection school and some of those life lessons. But how important is it for a human being, but certainly a young person today, to learn how to do hard stuff, hard things when it's not easy, and you learn to buckle up? Like, how useful is that as a tool?
So I think they said some of the people that are most successful in life, they look back and endured some kind of traumas in childhood, right? Because they've went through hard things, and they've doing hard things, all it does is let you know that you can get through it.
Yeah.
Right?
It gives you between the ears, I can
You're getting confidence in your capabilities, right?
It's all between the ears.
It's like I'm a survivor. Like, I know I can get
I've been
through
there,
it.
done it.
Yeah, so like,
give it to me again.
What are you going to do to me?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
until you've been in the fire, it's hard to...
Until you've done those things, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to, like, have that confidence and that capability. Is like, man, if I lost everything tomorrow and I was homeless, could I get back from that?
Yeah,
I'll be fine.
I can.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it, right? And then a lot of things is you have to have, whenever you do difficult things, you're grateful for the good things you have, right? So one of the things, when you go through some of these schools, one of them is SEER school.
Yeah.
So you don't eat for days on end, right? So a lot of people that had never went through SEER school, I watched guys lose their mind because they didn't eat for 3 or 4 days.
So try to be a kid when you're just trying to find
I'm like,
a sandwich somewhere.
This is easy.
Yeah, I've done this.
I've done this.
I did this from week to week at times.
This is easy, right? So, but, whenever now everybody that's went through that process, whenever you got back and you got a nice, medium rare ribeye steak and you enjoyed it, you know what I mean?
Get hungry.
But whenever you have the capability to have those things all the time, and you're not doing difficult things, then it's hard to have be grateful for what it is. I mean, you see a lot of most people that have a lot of money and a lot of power, all they're doing is more and more and more.
Sometimes the most miserable people
in the world because they're trying to fill a hole that they can't do because they've never done anything hard in their life.
So true, Terry.
You know what I mean? And they're just trying to refill it, and then they get in these perversions of power and like, I got to have this new thing and that thing and this thing, and you will never fill that hole ever.
Well, we're in a consumer world for sure. I mean, it's insane in our country how we don't hardly make anything anymore. We just provide services to each other.
We make content. That's about it.
Hey, we're making some good content here. This is awesome.
Content bombs.
Well, this is a good spot for us to take a quick commercial break.
Yo. True North Pest Control. They are all over Central Florida, Georgia, and they just moved here to the Emerald Coast. I just switched my service over to them. You've got to check them out. Tell them JB sent you. They'll take care of you. We are a bug-free podcast because of them. True North Pest Control. Now back to the show.
All right, Terry. So we're back. I really appreciate you going into the service. And again, I just want to thank you for your service because I think it's just so super admirable to serve your country. And freedom doesn't come free. I love this country. I still think we're, in spite of all the problems that are out there, in spite that half of us think a different way than the other half, I still think it's the best country in the world.
Yeah, of course.
I really do. And so I thank you for, 24 years in service. Is that right?
Yep, 24.
24 years of service. And you have every operator in SF has, I guess, a call sign, right? Almost like Maverick or something, like a name, right? Was yours? Or is that not true?
Not necessarily. I think I got the nickname.
Right.
Yeah, nickname
yours
Trailer.
Is Trailer.
Yeah, Trailer.
Where did Trailer come from?
So it came from, as actually my initial deployment, we were at Firebase Robinson in the Helmand Province. And, like when you meet a bunch of new guys or whatever, like stories come up. You're just telling stories or whatever. Okay. So I'm telling stories. And like before you join the military, you almost think like everybody lives the same. Like you don't know.
Yeah, right.
Right.
'Cause it's your world.
It's my world, right? So like,
Ain't no rich kids in there.
yeah, exactly. So I started telling some stories, and then I started telling some childhood stories and some stuff, and then people kind of looked at me and they're like, "What's up with this guy?" And then they just started to call me Trailer, and I had a little bit of an anger issue at that point. And then during that trip, man, my hair grew really long. So my hair was like all the way down past my shoulders.
Really?
On that trip. And it would like go long and it looked like a Joe Dirt, like, you know what I mean? Like it just come back, right?
Nice.
So you got
man.
Trailer. So
Yeah, so I
I
got
was
the-
thinking like you were always bringing in the supplies. I
No,
was like,
no.
you know, that is hilarious.
Yeah, so.
That's like so. Are some of the names get done? It's totally like ragging on somebody.
And you can't
Oh,
get rid
yeah,
of it.
yeah.
You can't get rid of it.
So then for a
once
while,
it goes out there, it's there.
So once for a while, like some of the old guys knew about it, and then some of the younger guys really didn't. You know what I mean? And then it's kind of one of those things. Like to me, you just kind of own it. You know?
Yeah.
So like I come on there, and then once I started getting to like the socials and that, my biggest thing was I want people to see that just because your upbringing doesn't define who you are.
I like that.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
that's
So
right.
so I think it's very important to like your circumstances now does not have to be the definition of who you are later on.
You can change.
You
You
can
can become a
change it.
new person.
Yep.
You,
So-
you really can.
And you should, if to our audience out there, you absolutely you need to follow Terry Wilson. You can find him online. We're going to flash up everybody's Instagram so they'll see it. So, and it'll be in the show notes so you can go in there and follow him because you have a lot of good that you're putting out in the world, and I love it. Is because what I love is kind of like. It's like your tagline is trailer out, problem solved.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that.
Great.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's great.
I love it. So good. So you come home from deployment and or you get out. When did you? Is this a discussion that your wife and you talked about? You've got. I mean, is it 20 years of service as retirement?
Yeah, you do 20 years and you can retire.
But you did 24. What
Yeah, I
were
did
you
24.
just extra special? You needed the extra 4. I mean, what
So,
did we do?
so I made Sergeant Major, which is E9, which is the highest rank you can do in the Army.
Okay.
Right. So I made it at about 20 years.
Okay.
But to get the retirement, you got to do 3 years.
The retirement for E9 guys.
Yeah. Well, you got to get your top 3 pay. So like you're getting you got promoted and now your pay is increasing. So you got to do the top 3 years to
So
get the
whatever
highest
your top
pay.
was, you need to get 3 years for that, or
Yes.
they're going to give you retirement at the pay grade just below that.
Yeah, whatever you were getting paid below that.
Gotcha,
So
right.
they're gonna give you your top 3 of your however much you were making.
I
So
assume
E9s are
it
making
was
more.
enough to make you stay around.
Yeah, it was enough. It was
That
enough to
makes
make me
sense.
stay around. And then at that point, I still enjoyed what I did. You know what I
Okay.
mean? I still loved it. And then I enjoyed being a company sergeant major, or you know what I mean. So I enjoyed it at that point.
You know, and again, I'd love to dive into this part because I want to get into the civilian life. There's some different things that are happening here. You when you come back and step back into a relationship with your wife after 24 years of service, 11 years you're gone.
Yep.
Does she know you? you know her?
Yes, but you still have so there's moments, I guess, within that time frame to where you can't be gone for somebody from 12 months on a deployment and then come back and then you're like, oh, this person's kind of changed a little bit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because that when you're together, you can see, you may not see those little changes,
Right.
but the influences and experience and
Right.
everything you had throughout that time frame
Right.
is cause some changes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those were things that started was very, very difficult, and I think a lot of people that are in the military
Right.
or have issues with that.
How do you get back in a rhythm? What did you guys do? Like, what would you recommend to somebody who's going through that? What would you have to do to get into a rhythm and a cadence from being gone all the time and learning your wife and all that?
So everybody's situation is a little bit different, but for me, when I tried to rebuild myself back up, right, it didn't work until I started putting God first, right, and then so I started building my relationship with Jesus Christ, and that's kind of how I focused on my foundation.
Did you always know Jesus? So your family in the trailer, did you hear about Jesus?
Yeah, I
considered
myself I would consider myself a Christian, but I was quotation. I was a Christian, but I was a Christian. I was a believer, but I wasn't a follower. Totally different thing, right? So I still living my life in sin.
Having fire insurance is one thing, but following Jesus
is a totally different thing, right? So that's totally different. You know what I mean? So I was baptized, but like I didn't read scripture. I wasn't in the Word.
Well,
like
6%
I didn't go to
of Christians have read cover to cover the Bible. Just to be clear,
I know, but like so for me, for me, it's very hard. It's very difficult to say I follow Jesus Christ if I'm not in the Word.
No, it's funny. I had a pastor one time say, like, what if you get to heaven and you run into Amos and be like, yeah, I don't remember reading your book.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like,
yeah, he wrote a book. I ought to read it.
So that's just me. That's how I feel that way. And then, so that's where I started kind of, because at first I tried to fix myself.
But was that after you got out?
After I got out, yeah.
So that's when you really got serious about your faith.
Yes, that's when.
And you said you tried to fix yourself. What was that like?
Well, I mean, I kind of went back to things that I knew, right? I went back to the gym. Okay. Started eating healthy, those kind of disciplines there too.
Which are good.
Yeah, which are still good, the good disciplines. But like, I think doing that without having a spiritual, like a foundational relationship with Jesus Christ, especially when you're dealing with a lot of other issues. You're dealing with anger, you're dealing with trauma, you're dealing with, trying to fix a marriage that's been strained. Relationship with kids that's been strained. Like all these things, like you don't do 20 years of service and don't come out with some
bumps and bruises.
Oh yeah, you can have some bumps and bruises, right?
That's right.
So
that's right. So step by step, you begin piecing it back together. Did you do anything? I mean, you don't have to say. I mean,
no, I'm pretty transparent.
I know therapy was something my wife and I did as well too.
So
counseling, marriage counseling, things like that.
So me and my wife went to therapy together, and then told her to go to therapy. She went to therapy on her own. I went to therapy on my own, and then we went to get therapy together as a couple.
And that's huge. Now, stepping back in, coming from that SF world, like that's not like. So I've watched a lot of podcasts on this stuff. It's honestly the military podcasts. I mean, you got Sean Ryan, you've got a lot of the guys doing stuff. Resilient. You've got some other podcasts are out there, and people, Americans, not just military people, love to lean into these stories. So I get it because it's fascinating to me that discipline. Is fascinating to me what's in there. But one of the things that seems to resonate is I watched someone on, I think it was on the Sean Ryan show, and he said that when he went through everything, it was kind of like nobody talked about anything. The biggest talk he ever had was, I guess he's part of the Bin Laden deal, and he said the biggest talk he had is they got back, and 2 days later he was kind of like, are you sleeping? Some guy asked him, are you sleeping? He said that was the most mental health talk he ever had.
How's your sleep patterns?
Yeah.
Well, he's like, no, it's just another guy. I can't sleep.
They don't embed a therapist with a SEAL team?
I think it could, but it's just, I don't know.
So there, I mean, when I originally went in, there's a stigma against it.
Right.
And so this is another thing. So there's a couple different things you're dealing with, right, whenever you're going to combat, right? And then you're in kinetic operations. So you got to understand, you're going out and you're taking lives.
Right.
All right? That is your job.
Right.
Right. And now, do you want to stop and talk about it to a therapist?
Well, that's right.
Right. Like and then now you're coming back. You're coming back on a deployment.
Right.
Right. And now I just did 10 months of killing bad guys.
Right.
I'm gonna come back.
How does that make you
And
feel?
now I'm gonna unpack that when I got to leave again for 6 months.
Yeah.
You ain't got time for that shit.
You're just shoving it down.
You're shoving it down because you're just deployment after deployment after deployment, and you got to perform, you got to operate, right? So like, there's a lot of things that you do that you like. You learn how to shut your emotions off.
Yeah.
Right. Which is great for the combat,
right?
Yeah.
But it's not so good because now you don't feel joy.
Not so great for the home.
You don't feel happy, like all these other things you're not
numb.
feeling. You're just numb, right?
Yeah.
And you're very stoic or whatever. And we'll talk about another thing about stoicism, which I really enjoy, but it's controlling your emotions, not having them.
Yeah.
Right. So
interesting. So I love that.
Yeah.
That
So
you just said that.
So stoicism is not having emotions. It's be able to control your emotions.
Very
right.
good.
So that's the difference. But whenever you're trying to block everything and you're not you're just going numb because you're trying to have to get through this stuff.
Right.
A lot of dark humor.
Right.
Like a lot of this, kind of stuff that you go in there, and then what ends up happening is because there's no output for that, a lot of guys will go to some kind of substance.
Oh, sure.
Substance abuse,
Sure.
right? And the easiest one is alcohol because alcohol is legal.
And it's
Yeah.
everywhere.
Right. So I can have a alcoholic. I can be a full blown alcoholic.
Right.
And nobody's saying anything as long as I'm not drinking and driving
Right.
or
Right.
no domestic abuse or
Right.
nothing that's crazy like that. You can be a full blown alcoholic and still operate fine on a team. Right.
Wow.
So yeah, because at the end of the day, it's not illegal.
Well,
That's right.
You can turn, if you can turn it off and be functioning alcohol,
You can totally function alcoholic.
better, right?
I mean, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you have that kind of stuff, and then obviously guys go down, worse rabbit holes and
Yeah.
do all kinds of different things, But then now you have to take this whole thing of when you're in combat, you're conducting high risk operations, and now you come back home and you're like, I don't have that anymore. So now you're doing high risk activities that you shouldn't be doing in the first place, right?
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
so there's all
fill that
kinds of
hole.
you're filling that hole,
You
right?
feel the whole of it, yeah.
So
To feel normal,
So truthfully,
probably.
whenever you're in that kind of deployment, you're killing bad guys, come home for a couple of months, retrain, go back and kill bad guys. I don't know what the right answer is, right?
Yeah.
Because
It seems
as you
some
get
time
older,
off. It seems like some time off between
well,
killing bad guys.
they've gotten better at that, but you got to understand,
Crazy happens in the world, right?
crazy happens. They were using SF and special operations for everything.
Right.
Like they were doing they were
Yeah.
using and abusing us.
I've heard this.
You know
I've
what I
heard
mean?
this,
Over
yeah.
and over again, right?
Yeah.
So and obviously we were saying yes to it, so it wasn't like
Well, you're trained to,
yeah, exactly.
right?
So
I mean,
Who's
it's
gonna
it's
say
the
no?
job.
yeah, exactly.
I'm
So-
Special Forces.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
say no. We
Right.
go.
So
Right.
Yeah.
so yes. So but later on, I would say they started seeing a lot of issues with guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the stigma of mental health kind of went down a little bit, right? So
Yeah.
guys were going to see seeking mental health like while they were still in group or right when they were starting to retire.
So you started seeing that happen. A little
So you
bit
started
towards
seeing
the
that
end, yeah.
towards the end. You start
Yeah.
seeing guys like, "Hey, listen, man, I got to go over there and because normally it's your sleep, right? Sleep is the first
Right.
thing that really goes bad.
Right.
And if your sleep goes bad, then everything else is going to fall apart.
I've heard that. I mean,
Yep.
there's some guy out there that's spending like $1 million or some crazy number to try to get himself to live as long as he can. And
I've seen that guy,
They've
yeah.
now like done a study where his cells are depleting slower than like an 18-year-old now, and he's like in his 40s. So whatever he's doing, but he's spending all this money to try to live as long as he can. But they've studied him and said that like the top 8 things he does is things that you can do without any money. The number one is sleep.
Sleep, yeah.
The number one is sleep.
Yep.
Then it was like get sunlight first thing in the morning, work out, get your heart rate up, things of that nature. So there's just normal things you can do that can help regulate your body and in your habits and creating better habits.
Yep.
So when did you recognize the counseling side? Did your wife? By the way, she must be a saint. Your wife
Yeah.
must be a saint.
Oh yeah.
So did she recognize the counseling issue, or is it kind of a mutual thing?
I think she'd probably agree with me. I think it was probably more me. I'm like, hey, we're going to counseling.
You just knew you had to do it.
Yeah, I just knew I had to do it.
And you start putting these pieces back together. Would you say that after you get through on the other side of this, because there's always like this side of counseling, like there's maintenance that goes on. I mean, I'm a big proponent in counseling, and if you've gone through counseling, especially if you've gone through marriage counseling, and you come out the other side, most of the time, very rarely do you just throw it in a towel, right? You keep doing some maintenance counseling and things of that nature. But when you come through that other side, because there's times where you're like probably going weekly, you're going, every other week, whatever it is. And then eventually your therapist looks and goes, well, I could see y'all in like 4 months or 2 months. Like, is that when you sit back and go, do you ever, because I hear this from a lot of people. I want to see if this is true with you. Are you thankful for the marriage? Are you more thankful for the marriage you have today than in the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think whenever you go through like hard times in a marriage, it can be a very good thing.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it can make your relationship stronger.
Yeah.
right? Biggest thing there is like your communication and that's huge.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, learning how to communicate. That's like 90% of that's sometimes people communicate, but they communicate so poorly.
Terribly. Yeah.
It's like terrible.
Yeah.
So it's good I realized that I had terrible communication skills. I actually still have some bad habits of communication skills.
Well, a lot of that is breaking habits too, because a lot of times whenever you're in whatever issues that you have, you're just repeating habits. You're both repeating your same habits, and it puts you in the same kind of like, whether it's an argument or like you feel like she disrespected you and she's like, oh, I didn't disrespect you, or whatever it is, and you spiral into the same habits that you have, and that kind of gets into whatever issues you have. You got to figure out how to break those habits and stop and understand what's going on.
100%, Terry. And you talked about your faith being so important with you because you had all these other habits, but then you had to bring your faith on to make this to really find true peace and happy. And I've said this before. It's hard to understand the peace that surpasses all understanding if you don't know the peace that passes all understanding.
Yeah,
because it passes understanding. You can't understand where this peace is coming
right,
from.
but you've got to at some point you've got to be following Jesus to really understand this peace. There's just no other way to say it. But what was the precipice? I mean, you knew about him. Did somebody come to you? You're just like, I'm diving into Jesus.
So I was trying everything else on my own, and it wasn't working.
Yep.
So I'm like, all right, let me check into this Jesus guy. I mean, that was pretty much
I've heard about this guy from Nazareth.
Right. Yeah. So like,
nothing good comes from Nazareth.
So that's kind of where I don't like marriage counseling. I don't like counseling at all. But I went and I'm like, hey, we're going because that's what we needed. Right. So like, I'm the kind of person I'm like
problem solved.
Yeah, exactly. Because if not, you can't do the same thing over and over again and expect some kind of different results, right? So like at the end of the day, it's like,
does that come from training? Does that come because you had some destabilization early on?
I think that comes from like maybe some self-awareness and maybe a little bit of training.
Yeah.
And you can apply the same mindset with your. If you make your relationship or your life, whatever, some kind of mission focused, you can start seeing like blind spots and things that you're not doing right, or maybe that you're not proficient in, or you're like, I've tried all these other things. I look over here and I see all these people that have faith are peaceful, way more peaceful than I am, right? I have this anger that I'm trying to get rid of.
Right.
Why would I not look into that?
That is so
it's
strong.
Pretty common sense when you think about it. Like,
so strong.
Why would I just not look at
that? So strong. That might be the best. That might be the best thing I've ever heard of why you should follow Jesus.
Yeah,
it makes common sense.
Yeah. So then I'm just like, okay, well then now I'm gonna go in here, and then first you have to get, I always tell people when they're trying to understand, first you have to get to God, right? To me, that's easy. It's a very easy explanation, right?
Yep.
And then the next thing is now you have to look at, okay, now I got to look into Jesus Christ. Is this is Scripture? Is this creditable, right? And now you start reading it and understanding it, and then and that's where I started getting into it, and then really going all in my faith.
Practicing your faith.
Can I apply it? Is this real?
Yeah, exactly.
Can I apply these lessons to my life?
Hey, listen, I tell people all the time, though, you ain't got to even believe in it. Like, practicing the
lessons
from Jesus.
Yep.
Following Jesus will make you better at life, whether you believe in it or not.
It will. It's incredible.
I think you can lean into it, but putting others before yourself, having that self-awareness, treating your wife with respect and honor, and fathering well and leaning into your children,
so
all those things are incredible.
Stewarding money.
If you're talking to somebody that doesn't understand, or maybe it's an atheist or has not brought up in faith or whatever, you got to get them somewhere, right? So it's almost like walking them a little bit, right? You're there to plant the seed. You let Jesus do the rest. You let the guy do the rest, right?
I can't save
I
can't save nobody.
We can't save
exactly.
We can't save ourselves.
Yeah. So
we can't even do it. We can't even do it ourselves. So
you're right, bro.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Terry, I know this is somewhat of a painful part of your story because at some point you experienced a profound loss.
Yeah.
And you lost your son, is that right?
Yep.
Oh wow!
Was this after? Was it while you were in service, or is that?
So
when
I was
you
still
retired?
I was still in service. It was right before COVID.
Right before
COVID hit. Yeah, he was in a motorcycle accident.
How old was your son?
At that point, he was 20. I think he was 24.
Where did he fall in line on the order of your?
He was the
children?
oldest.
So that was your oldest.
Yeah, he was the oldest.
That was the one that came when you were 18.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So he was also. What's that?
That was the one when you're 18 and you're struggling and trying to figure it out and where you're going to go and.
Yeah.
Well, first off, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sad to hear that.
I'm really sorry that happened. How do you recover from something like that?
So I don't think you don't really recover.
Fair play.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Fair play.
so.
It's a new day.
Yeah, you don't really recover from it. There is a lot of grief. That the hardest part for me was I put so much stuff away through combat, and you know, like I grew up like seeing death, right? It was a normal thing, you know. So now you have to deal with a loss, and you don't know how to deal with it, right? So grieving process for us was very, very hard. Like it happened. I mean, it took years before I was even able to even have a conversation about him.
Oh, you wouldn't even talk.
No, I wouldn't even talk about it.
Bring up his name?
No, we didn't even talk about him at all.
I can understand that. That's
Yeah,
So
it's
it was
such
very
a
tough.
deep
Very
hurt.
tough.
Yeah.
You can't even.
That loss, by the way, I have friends that have lost children, and I have one that's a pastor, and he was on our show too.
Yeah.
He told us, he said, I know what it's like to lose. He goes, I know what it's like to lose a son, and if I was God, you'd all go to hell.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't do it again.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give up a son.
Yeah. So.
You know, were you home when it happened, or were you deployed?
No, I was home.
So
Yeah, we're home.
I guess did that help at all, or I mean, do you define the calendar from pre?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, there's certain things that happen in your life that's going to.
Like pre and post.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a big change, I guess. Like I thought I had the world figured out before then, really. You know? Very straightforward, matter of fact. Like I didn't give a shit what anybody thought about me. Like
Right.
I was very, like, you know.
almost invincible because you survived all this
Yeah,
stuff for so
I felt
long.
like I felt like I was invincible. I felt
That's
like
good.
all this kind of like,
Good
you know.
conscience.
And then after that, I was just like, you know, who am I anymore? Like I had a whole different, like trying to figure out exactly, you know, gained a lot of weight. Like I quit working out. Like I was just, you know what I mean? So like it was really
right.
hard.
Like time stopped.
Yeah. So.
How does your wife deal with it?
Oh, she has a hard time. She still has a hard time. We went on a podcast, me and her together.
Oh, together.
Yeah. And she didn't want to bring it up. She's like, I don't want to talk about it.
That hard.
Yeah. So she's not ready to, like, you know what I mean?
I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally understand.
I get it, but I don't get it. But
Yeah.
I try to.
I
understand.
don't like.
Yeah.
I mean,
So grief's one of those things. It's kind of it's hard to understand how people grieve differently, and whatever their background is, their perspective, and like how they see things, and the relationships and that. Like it kind of changes that. But I would say, as far as like when you lose a child, like there's like days or a child, like you don't like, you know. It's a totally different.
Yeah, I'd
because
imagine.
you'd never, I know my parents are going to die before me. I know my grandparents are going to die.
Natural.
I even know that my wife may die before I die.
Right. It's natural.
I know that, right?
Natural.
Right?
But not your kids.
My kids was never brought
It's
into
not
my
reality.
mind. It's
It's not
never
real.
even an option. It was
Right.
never an option.
Did you feel like when is the next egg? When's the next thing gonna drop? Did you feel like fragile? Like everything felt very fragile. You know. I imagine there's some of that to it.
Well, yeah, there's that. There's some fear. Obviously, there's fear that goes with it too. You know, if this could happen once,
Right.
You're like, so like,
Right.
there's that kind of fear too. You know, there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of guilt because you're gone quite a lot. I was gone a lot. So I'm like, I can't get that time back. Mm-hmm. So you're like,
yeah.
And I would question my faith.
Yeah.
I would question, like, why did this happen? This makes no sense.
Yeah.
This makes absolutely no sense.
Diving into your faith. Which
yeah,
is
it was before I died of my
So
faith.
you've dived into your faith. Do you get any peace in knowing that this life is,
Yeah.
but eternity is?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean,
there will be a time
yeah.
that you'll be reunited.
Yeah.
You dived into your faith after this happened. Did that faith start giving you any hope?
Yes, because I look at things. So this is how all right, so there's certain things, when I read scripture, I try to understand it so I can follow the word better and I can build a relationship with Jesus Christ.
Right.
Right. So you can't have, I believe in the design, right? God made a design.
Yep.
Right. It's very clear. Right. And he gave us free will.
Well, that's the
that's
the weird part.
That's
the thing that people kind of get misunderstood, right?
Right.
So I have free will. We all have free will.
Right.
So do you not think that bad things are going to happen because you have free will? People have free will.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, and your free
You're
will's
right.
different.
You're
Your
right.
free will's different. I always say it's like a kinetic energy, and you.
So, but I mean, so there's certain things there that I don't need to understand everything.
Yeah.
Right. So there's
not going to.
and you're not going to, right? There's a lot of things that I'm not going to understand. We're not going to understand.
We're not going to be able to understand the mind of God.
So trying to, it will tear you apart.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So I believe in free will. So because there's free will, bad things are going to happen. Right. We see this all the time.
Yeah.
Right. But then we think, well, but I follow Jesus Christ, so it shouldn't happen to me.
Yeah, right. That's what I was saying earlier.
Very-
So
We feel that. Like, why me?
That's the thing that people don't really we don't understand, right? So we don't understand why bad things happen to good people, right? We don't understand why bad things happen to people who follow God, right? So there has to be an understanding that, all right, so if a God that can make the universe and can make your lungs and make you the way you are, can he not stop bad things from happening? Obviously he can, right? How and why and when he does that, that's not for me to decide or understand.
He says, your thoughts are not my thoughts, your ways are not my ways.
So, and once you can kind of start understanding that, it gives you some freedom of like.
I agree.
It's hard. It's hard because people because we'll pray for things and we think, okay.
Well, we pray for a sky daddy,
Well, that's a lot of things there too, too, and that's a lot of times too. Like, so I'll be in some, where people will pray and they're like, yeah, God answered my prayers or whatever, and sometimes you're just like, did he answer your prayers or did he not? Like, we don't know when he does and how he does, right? Okay. So and that's kind of where you have to kind of really, if you try to wrap yourself around that. Whenever you suffer a loss or something like that, it can drive you crazy.
Drive you crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first off, what was your son's name?
Jacob.
Yeah. So I just want to.
Yeah.
What a cool name.
Let's just take a moment of silence for Jacob. Terry, I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation here today. It has been absolutely
it's been
honor.
a good one.
Yeah.
And you dove into some really incredible spots. And this last part was really touching in how you laid into your faith. And again, I encourage everybody to go and follow you on I guess IG. You said it earlier. I was like, IG. What's
Instagram.
IG? Instagram. I encourage everyone to go and follow you because you are putting out good stuff. And life is hard, but one thing about it is I know you can do hard things. And so I wanted to ask you a question. I'm asking everybody. I'm going to finish this. So this is the part I'd tell you all, listen up, kids. This is the part I'd say you should listen up. Because I'm going to ask everybody this season this question. I'm finishing with this. What is one thing you've added to your life, a practice, a discipline, a way of showing up that you wish you could have told yourself to start years earlier?
I start each day in the Word. Read Scripture every morning.
Light into a path.
Yep.
That's great, man. That's absolutely great. We got a lot of that last year.
Yeah.
I think that is really a great answer. Get into the Word
Yep.
and start that discipline. So every day.
Every day, first thing I do.
What is your practice on that? Is
So
it like one chapter, one verse.
I do one chapter, depending on how much context is in the chapter, because I don't just read to like go through it. I read to like understand it. So like if you're reading to try to understand it, like you're trying to go, okay, how does this apply? Right? You know, when you get in the Gospels and you're reading the parables and that, like you just can't just read this and be like, oh, okay, I know exactly what he's talking about. Right?
What's the context he's talking
What's
about?
the context?
Digging in.
And you really got to dig in and understand it. And then sometimes you may have to go to one of the other Gospels because, you know, one of the other disciples kind of
Clarified it a little bit better.
Clarified it or said it a little bit different. Okay, yes, now I'm taking that into what he's saying here. You know what I mean? So like, okay. But like for me, that helps. It helps build my relationship. Then from there, it helps me on the path that I want to live, right? So then whenever I'm doing things, I'm using discernment before, obviously I'm opening my mouth or I'm talking or if I'm getting frustrated or I'm getting angry. Like when I fall off that path of not starting off in the Word and prayer, then I can get really quick back into my old worldly ways.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? So like,
for sure.
Yeah.
That discipline is an incredible practice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing it. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you for opening up here and coming on our show, man.
That was good. It was awesome.
Really, thank you for coming.